Are you really going to put your faith in those witches?
Magic is an evil craft left over from ancient times.
That's why you all bothered taking the time to learn such an outdated and useless craft.
They're just a bunch of witches!
Witches have no place in the modern age.
There isn't a need for dragons or witches in this day and age. With science on the rise, magic is doomed to become obsolete in the very near future.
Is it? Is it really? Well, we're about to find out. Hello Internet, and welcome to Witch Theory. We might not be as smart as Matpat or have his sexy voice, but I assure you, we are the smartest show in witchcraft. Well, mainly because we're the only channel. But I know you witch lovers are starving for more Little Witch Academia content, and I'm here to quench your bewitching thirst. Even if it's from a Wish.com game theory wannabe ripoff channel. With that being said, let's get right into today's topic. So, one of the biggest debates in Little Witch Academia is that magic is becoming obsolete and it has no use in the modern world. But before we can truly look into that argument, we must first look at the jobs which magic are used for. As far as we know, magic is used in farms and factories, as mentioned by Miss Hellbrook. We can speculate that they probably use it for moving goods and maintenances. And we also know that shops such as Lotte's families offer repairs to items with magic. In episode 7, Ursula also mentioned magic being used in plastic surgeries, and rewind magic being used in crime scene investigation by the police. And of course, there's entertainment, but I'm going to put it aside considering it's frowned upon by the witch community. And also I would like to look at the more practical uses of magic. Sorry, Akko. We can also speculate other jobs that could be using magic too. For example, a medical institute could have witches as R&D to research about diseases that can only be cured by magic. For instance, the Green Man disease as seen in episode 16. There could also be witches who are botanists that are growing magical plants that require special magical care. And considering that culinary magic is a thing, we can also assume that there are witches own restaurants that serve magical food. But honestly, I think magic has a lot more potential uses. Well, if it weren't for the accessibility problem, of course. And speaking of problems, another problem they are facing is that the number of witches are declining as stated by Professor Badcock. This means that even if the energy is enough for other jobs, there won't be enough witches to practice the magic. But all of this can be solved. The declining witches problem can be solved by, well, just making more witches. And no, I don't just mean, well, that. Even though it is one of the viable solutions, you need to get your head out of the gutter. What I mean is that we should train more younger future generations to become witches in order to practice magic. I mean, spoiler alert! Chariot absorbs magical energy from her audience for her show, thus meaning that everyone in their world has magical energy stored within them. It's just whether they choose to use it or not. Also, considering that Akko is a muggle, she can still learn and kinda use magic. And the reason behind why she couldn't use magic isn't even her fault. So it isn't impossible to recruit and train more kids to become witches for the future generations. If Miss Finnelan can stop being such a conservative boomer, of course, then we could have more future generations of witches. And the accessibility problem has already been solved by Croix and her SSS. But even if magic is accessible and there's more witches to practice it, is it really more useful or at least on par with current technologies? Hell yeah! Considering how vast the magic is in Little Witch Academia is, the possibility is quite endless. To say that it is completely obsolete is quite questionable, because compared to other things that are actually completely obsolete, such as a typewriter or a steam engine, those things are either too slow or too complicated compared to their modern counterparts. But with magic, it isn't really slower or that much less efficient than modern technology. For example, imagine instead of having to wait 1 month claim for a cracked monitor after accidentally dropping your laptop, you just bring it to your local magic shop, get a witch to pop rewind magic on it, and boom, good as new. Control magic could also be used to restock large shelves in superstores and malls, which would normally take hours to complete, could be completed in a matter of minutes by a witch. Magic can also be used to speed up constructions. As we can see in episode 9, where Shumley was talking about the magic golden age with Akko, there's a frame where a witch was building a road all by herself. Imagine that now, with all the additional help from modern technologies, construction can be faster than ever. Fortune telling can also be used to quickly and accurately track down fugitive and missing people. Revitalization magic can also be used by paramedics to heal fatal injuries within seconds on the spot. With a plant variation, it can be used to restore ravaged crops from locusts and pests without having to replant them. The magical barrier spell that Diana used in the Enchanted Parades could also be used by emergency services to quickly secure a crime scene or an accident site. And if broom flying can be used anywhere, we could get services such as rapid delivery via brooms, and even things like Uber Witch. And not to also mention the potential on a more grand level of scale. Considering that magic is renewable and can be converted into another form of energy as shown by Croix in episode 14, as long as the ley line exists and people are still believing, we could have another form of renewable energy. That's right, our antagonist in the show could be the hero of humanity who would solve more global warming than Greta Thunberg ever did. We just need to keep raising awareness about witches and have something like a witch month every once a year, and just like that, we could have an endless stream of energy. And imagine a magic powered car. I did be all over that considering my hatred for unstable oil prices. And we would literally be having flying cars. How cool is all that? But with all these usage and possibilities, why did people stop using magic? Why did people stop developing it? And why did people decide to turn away from magic? What if I tell you this could be the government's doing? And I know I'm starting to sound like a tinfoil hat wearing conspiracy theorist, but hear me out. If we look at a chart shown by Miss Babcock about the decline of magic, we can estimate that the decline starts around the late 1700s towards the early 1800s. And when did Britain start taxing people? Let's see... Boom! It could be that the reason the use of magic and its energy is declining is that the government could be placing taxes on the use of magic and ownership of magic generating items such as the Sorcerer's Stone. I mean, in episode 7, Lotte even mentioned about the law requiring them to have a license to use magical tools. And the reason they do this isn't just about generating the sweet revenue to the states, but it's also about control. The government doesn't see magic as obsolete. Really, they see it as a threat to national security. I mean, look at Shiny Chariot. She shot the freaking moon! She would have been on every Fed's watch list for doing that. Maybe that was the reason she changed her identity. Anyway, keep in mind she's only an entertainer for kids. Imagine the potential of someone who actually tries to weaponize magic like Constance and Croix. Look at Constance. And don't let her huggable appearance fool you. She managed to create a fully weaponized flying ship with AA batteries and everything, and even has the ability to turn itself into a mech. And not to mention she did this all by herself in her spare time. With a bit of Akko's help, of course. She also has an army of standbots, and she's only an amateur, doing all of this for fun. Now let's look at Croix and her NORAD. That thing is capable of turning itself into a stealth bomber and even hijacking a freaking missile. Imagine if it was used for an actual attack and not just an accident. It would be every military general's worst nightmare. And look at Susie, just think of all the twisted things she might do with all her powers and poison. I mean, just look at what she proposed in the Enchanted Parades.
Mushroom again. What are you gonna do with that?
A mushroom comes to town. It sprinkles magic spores. The magic spores make everybody happy.
Indeed, Lotte. You're definitely going on the watch list for that one, Susie. But as you can see, all of these are high-tier threats to national security. It did be understandable why the government would be fearful of magic and try to condemn it. I mean, a couple of witches with the right magic, energy, and training could potentially defeat an entire military regiment, and let alone overthrow a government. I mean, if I was running a government, I'd be scared too. This could be why Handbridge and Blackwell are so against magic. Not because the thing is obsolete, but because they fear the potential of it overthrowing them. I mean, he even slipped it out when he was talking to Andrew in the B episode.
Magic is an evil craft left over from ancient times. As statesmen, we must ensure that the future of our nation is guided by our hands.
There you have it. I see right through you, Handbridge. 1 for the people and 0 for aristocrats. Anyways, on the surface, people like Hainbridge and the government might look uninterested in magic, but I bet somewhere hidden under Vauxhall Cross, there's a division entirely dedicated on monitoring magic and even a research team trying to weaponize it. I mean, you gotta know something being so calm and putting so much faith in a group of teenage witches in a situation where you're on the brink of World War III. This could also explain why the general public might not have such a keen view on magic and seeing it as outdated and useless. The government could be spreading negative propaganda about it through the media in order to restrain the public from it so people wouldn't get involved with magic. Because the more attention it gets, the more people will start to believe in it and the more energy it will have. And if magic rolls back to where it used to be the magic golden age, there could be a threat of witches revolting against the government and overthrowing them. And now that magic can be combined with modern technologies, they could be more powerful than ever. So Scrub, it was never about efficiency all this time. Never has been. But hey, that's just a theory. A witch theory. Thanks for watching. Anyway guys, this is only my first theory video I've ever did in my entire life. Thank you so much for watching and I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you have any points you want to rebuttal or think I have missed anything, I did love to have a discussion with you in the comments and take any suggestion or criticism you might have. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe because I might make more of these in the future depending on how well this video does. Anyway guys, I will see you guys later. And Matpat, please don't sue me. And if I could somehow find this video, I will not take any responsibilities for the witch uprising in England.